You are listening to Boxagon Sports with Abraham Storns Jr., broadcasting the very best in boxing, MMA, and wrestling. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.
Hey guys, today I'm going to give a recap of the second night of Wrestlemania 36. It was the second night of Wrestlemania 36. This year's Wrestlemania was a two-night event. As you guys know, I did a video of the first night of Wrestlemania 36. I gave my recap. I felt the first night of Wrestlemania was actually better than the second night. But here's the thing though, like with these matches, they had some pretty shocking outcomes. But for an example, the first match was Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley. I was actually expecting Rhea Ripley to retain her title, but she didn't. Charlotte Flair ended up winning. I'm pretty sure that the WWE wants Charlotte Flair to either tie her dad's record or even break her dad's record. So I'm pretty sure they're going to give Charlotte Flair like many opportunities to win titles in the WWE. And next we have Otis and Dolph Ziggler. Otis and Dolph Ziggler actually had one of the best storylines on SmackDown since January. And Otis ended up beating Dolph Ziggler. It was a weird outcome. Dolph Ziggler ended up teaming up with Sonya Deville, and Mandy Rose ended up teaming up with Otis. And Otis ended up picking up the victory. And I'm pretty sure the storyline is going to continue after WrestleMania. And next we have Aleister Black and Bobby Lashley. Aleister Black is pretty much building up to be like the next demon-like character in the WWE. So he defeated Bobby Lashley, and I wasn't shocked about that. And they after the match, they pretty much threw a hint that Bobby Lashley and Lana are going to be breaking up soon. And after that, we had me personally, I thought this was the match of the night. We had Edge making his in-ring return for the first time in 9 years against Randy Orton in the Last Man Standing match. Me personally, I felt this was the best match of the night. I give props to Edge for coming back after 3 neck and spine surgeries and fighting for like a whole hour throughout the whole entire WWE Performance Center. Edge and Randy Orton both pretty much gave us the tour of how the WWE Performance Center looks like throughout the back of it, the gym area, all the offices and things like that. Edge even had the courage to even use tables and ladders like how he used to do earlier in his career. And it was a very exciting match. It was a back and forth war. Edge ended up picking up the victory over Randy Orton. Edge is only going to wrestle only a few matches a year from what a recent report earlier this year when he made his return at the Royal Rumble. There was a documentary on the WWE Network called WWE 24. It was about Edge's in-ring return. Edge was very close to signing with WWE's competitor, All Elite Wrestling, but instead Vince McMahon was desperate to get Edge back in the ring. That way he can draw in more ratings. And I'm pretty sure that if Edge joined AEW, it would be big for AEW. So Vince is just trying to stop AEW from blowing up and becoming the biggest wrestling company in wrestling right now. But as far as Randy Orton, I'm not sure where he's going to go from here. He said he has about 4 to 5 years left in his career. So I'm not sure who he's going to feud with next, or maybe they're going to extend the feud between him and Edge. Maybe they're going to feud around SummerSlam because Edge isn't going to work a full-time schedule anymore because of his injuries he had in the past. So even if they fight again, hopefully it's going to be a pretty good match, just like how we've seen in WrestleMania. And after that, we had Bayley, the current SmackDown Women's Champion. It was a fatal 5-way match with Tamina, Lacey Evans, Sasha Banks, and Naomi. And in the match, I was actually expecting Sasha Banks to win this fight. I was actually hoping it would have ended with Bayley and Sasha fighting, but instead Bayley retained the title with help from Sasha Banks. That was a pretty shocking outcome. But WWE, according to a recent report, is going to have Bayley and Sasha feud in the near future, so I can't wait to see that match. And after that, we had the former Patriot Rob Gronkowski, who just joined the WWE roster and was also a host of WrestleMania this past weekend. He defeated his friend Mojo Rawley for the 24/7 title. So Rob Gronkowski has only been on the WWE roster for about a couple of weeks. He's already won his first title. So it's kind of interesting to see what the WWE is going to do with him in the near future, going into the next pay-per-view in the rest of 2020. And we had a tag team match. The current Raw Tag Team Champions, the Street Profits, took on Angel Garza and Austin Theory. The Street Profits defeated Angel Garza and Austin Theory. I'm pretty sure they weren't going to let the Street Profits lose. It was a pretty good match other than that, because Austin Theory actually replaced Andrade. Andrade actually was pulled out of the match because of a rib injury, so that's why Austin Theory was wrestling in the tag team match. So the Street Profits, I'm pretty sure, are going to feud with the both of them again later in the future. And next, we had the co-main event of the second night of WrestleMania, was The Fiend Bray Wyatt taking on John Cena in a Firefly Fun House match. As you guys know, this past weekend on the first night of WrestleMania, we had The Undertaker and AJ Styles face off in a Boneyard match. It was one of the best matches I've seen in a long time from The Undertaker and some of WWE's best production in history. But The Fiend and John Cena, a lot of wrestling fans around the world have gave this match a mixed review. Some said they liked it, it was very entertaining. Some say it was the worst match ever. John Cena and Bray Wyatt are two very talented in-ring competitors, but I was expecting a lot more out of this match. The only good thing I would say about this match is that the acting was very good, but there wasn't a lot of fighting. It was just mainly kind of like I would say a sitcom type of feel, or like a comedy slash like a Nickelodeon type of show. It was like it was a very weird match. I never seen nothing like it. I thought the match was the worst match on the whole entire WrestleMania event. Between night 1 and night 2, I would rank that match like the least, because it wasn't much fighting. I don't get the purpose of having like old flashbacks. Only flashback I kind of understood was when they had John Cena kind of go back in time, and when he made his debut with Kurt Angle, when he faced off against Kurt Angle back in 2002. But after that, they had like other flashbacks of going back to Saturday night's main event. They even had a WCW flashback, which is very odd. They had John Cena joining the NWO. The only thing I can interpret that from is like they were like alluding to John Cena and like never turning heel. So all the fans thought John Cena should turn heel, and John Cena even wanted to turn heel at one point of his career, and Mr. McMahon didn't let him do that. The only time that John Cena ever became close to turning heel was in 2012 when he took on Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and The Rock's return to the ring, and during their feud at WrestleMania throughout the two matches they had. So the John Cena and The Fiend match, it ended weirdly. John Cena brought back his Doctor of Thugonomics gimmick in the match. He did some freestyles, and they even kind of went back in time to their 2014 matchup at WrestleMania 30. All that was kind of weird. It was an odd match. I didn't enjoy it at all. Like I said, it's just the match was terrible. I just gotta say it. The match was terrible. I'm not blaming it on John Cena and Bray Wyatt. I'm blaming it on the writers, and they could have had more action. Like, I thought it was going to be like the House of Horrors match in 2017 between Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton, but instead it was just totally different. I thought the match was going to be like in an actual house, but it really wasn't. Mainly it was just majority in the ring. We were just showing a bunch of flashbacks and promos. Pretty much all the promos they had throughout the match is like stuff they could have had leading up to the match. But in the match, it should have been back and forth action. Bray Wyatt turned into the Fiend at the end of the match. He gave John Cena the mandible claw, and he pinned him with the mandible claw, and John Cena vanished. A lot of people are speculating that was John Cena's last match, and we'll never see him in the ring again. So John Cena deserves a better send-off than that. He's the biggest thing after the Attitude Era ended in professional wrestling. Most people who grew up in my generation, like late 90s guys or people born in the early 2000s, like John Cena was like Hulk Hogan or The Rock to us. So like he shouldn't like get sent off like that if that was his retirement match. So we'll see what's next for him and Bray Wyatt both. In the main event, we had Brock Lesnar taking on Drew McIntyre, or should I say Drew McIntyre taking on Brock Lesnar for the WWE title. Drew McIntyre defeated Brock Lesnar, which I predicted before. Brock Lesnar and Drew McIntyre only fought for about 5 minutes. It was just mainly just suplexes, Claymore kicks, and F5s. That was pretty much it. No interference from Paul Heyman. What kind of shocked me is that Paul Heyman didn't interfere in the match. Drew McIntyre won the title, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna feud with someone like Seth Rollins or one of the top Raw superstars next. I'm not sure where they're gonna go with Brock Lesnar from here. I'm pretty sure if he doesn't rematch with McIntyre, they might have him rematch Cain Velasquez, or even take on somebody from SmackDown. And I don't know where they're gonna go from here. But other than that, Wrestlemania was somewhat better than I expected. I feel Edge and Randy Orton and Undertaker and AJ Styles stole the show. Props to the WWE for still entertaining us, through this crazy time we're living in when most sporting events are canceled. So at least they still put on the show. And hopefully by next year, if everything goes back to normal, at WrestleMania 37 in Hollywood, California, we get to see a full stadium of people. So we'll just see. All right, guys, thank you all for tuning in. Let me know what you guys thought about WrestleMania Night 2. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Don't forget to press like, subscribe, and share.
Thanks for listening to Boxagon Sports with Abraham Storns Jr., broadcasting the very best in boxing, MMA, and wrestling. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.